As I mentioned previously in the last video, my progress at the gym was 1 step forward, 10 step back, because I had no structure, I had no nutrition advice or information or training advice or information. I was just purely just winging it. I'd go to the gym, I'd see what other people are doing, and I'll try to replicate that. My form was rubbish, exercise choices were rubbish, I had no knowledge. July of 2020, my whole life came crumbling down. I had personally never felt more depressed, more shattered, more hopeless ever in my life, due to the fact that my younger brother had passed away. I personally thought I'd never recover. That was like the last nail in the coffin of my life. I was miserable. I developed some bad habits. I wasn't eating properly. I wasn't sleeping properly. I was purely living off caffeine and just rubbish that you find every day. My whole body felt weak. My mind felt weak. I did not have the courage or ambition to do anything in life. I just also wanted to just end the misery. But somehow, I managed to turn that pain and that tragedy into a fire that still is ignited inside of me. That fire has forged me into the man that I am today. The way I look at this occurrence is it was a very big tragedy for me and my family, but it was also beneficial as a family in whole and as an individual myself. And I don't say that out of selfishness, but I say that as it has made me a better person in all aspects of my life. It has made me a better son, a better brother, a better husband, a better father, and a person in general. I have connected with God more closely after that event, but at that time I had no hope. When I lost my brother, I lost myself. I lost a big chunk of myself. Nothing in this world mattered anymore. I did not care about business. I did not care about training. I did not care about literally anything in this world. The pain that I was carrying was more than physical. It was mental, spiritual, and emotional. And for months and months and months, I did not know how to move forward. I was stagnant, but worse than stagnant, I was going backwards. I was going back to my old habits of self-destruction, because I don't know if any of you guys have lost a loved one so close to you, which I'm sure you guys have, but you know what I'm talking about. The guys out there that have lost someone close to them, once you lose a big part of your life, you kind of lose your identity. You lose that spark that you had, because it dies with them. Honestly, during this process, I was very depressed. I was empty inside. I did not feel anything. I was numb. I had no emotion, no love to give or to receive. And I was pushing everyone around me to try to support me away, because I did not know how to communicate my emotions and my feelings to them. As it wasn't a typical sadness that you feel when you pop a ball or you do something that is a common occurrence during the day. This was a different kind of sadness, a different kind of depression. It was emptiness. It was a void inside of me that I did not know how to feel. For months, I did not know how to feel. It was just... It was honestly the worst time of my life. Someone once told me, you don't get over grief. You just learn to live with that. And at that time, I kind of understood it, but now I definitely understand it, because I am a living proof of that. You'll never forget your loved ones. You'll never forget how they laughed, or how they made you feel, or the personality or the character that they had. But you just learned to live with them. And that memory of them and how they were when they were in this earth would forever be forged in your brain. You'll never forget that. For months and months, I just stayed home. I did not want to be outside. I did not want to speak to anybody. I was just isolated. I tried to be there for my family as much as I could. I am the eldest, so I had to be there for my sisters, my mum, my father, as a pillar of the house, to keep the house up. But in saying that, as I was trying to help everyone, I also was that was a very, very low moment of my life too. All your older siblings can understand this, but when you try to be there for your family and be the supporting base or the supporting pillar and take care of everyone's emotions, you neglect yourself. You leave yourself last, especially if you love them dearly. So it was a couple months of just straight, the vibes in the home were just gloomy. It was just like a gloomy, rainy Sunday, but constant over our heads. No hope. It was just gloomy. And during that time, I got more into my religion. I became closer to God because we always tend to forget death. We know we're all gonna die, but we always leave it at the back of our head, like, I am young. I'm gonna live another 60 years and then I'll fall ill or I'll pass away or whatever the case may be. But who promised you that? No one promised you that. My brother was 19 years old when he passed away. He too thought he had another 67 years of life to live. But that's the concept of death. Death doesn't discriminate. You go to the graveyards, you see babies that are 6 months old. You see others that are 97 years old. Death does not discriminate. It can happen to you at any time. During that process of grief and trying to be there for my family, I got closer and closer to God. I started reading more into religion, and ultimately my connection to the Almighty became very tight, very strong. And and I mentioned this to someone the other day. It's a weird situation to be in because God tests you, and us as humans, we have free will and we have a mind of intellect that God instilled in us to think for ourselves. So I know some people that God has tested them the same way that have tested me, but they have reacted in a different situation and they've pushed themselves further away from God rather than closer to God. The concept of death has been forgotten more, whereas it's supposed to be a constant reminder that you are not promised tomorrow and that you have to do everything in your power to be the best version of yourself on that day and live a life that you want to live by being a God-fearing human, by doing good, by being a good husband, father, son, brother, whatever that case may be. After a couple months of just being there for my family, being sad, being depressed, I finally got the courage to go to the gym. And honestly, I am glad that I went to the gym. Back then, my primary focus was bodybuilding. But at the gym, and this, mind you, now I had better experience. I had more knowledge of nutrition, of workouts, programming, of science-backed workouts because I was more invested into it. So once I got to the gym, and that first session was therapy. That was the thing that I was longing for in my heart and my soul. Just putting yourself through torture, voluntarily putting yourself through torture of your chest expanding and contracting, your biceps, whatever the case may be, was very therapeutic to me. I honestly enjoyed that session so much that I promised myself from that day forward that gym is going to be a staple and a pillar of my life, a pillar of my character and a pillar of my personality. because as I experienced that, gym and working out and self-development was the thing, was the factor that pulled me out of that hole that I was in. So I constantly went to the gym religiously. Now I had structure, I had a program. And after a couple months, I started seeing my body slowly developing into the body that I always dreamed of. So that became a very addictive feeling. Knowing that if I put in the work, I am definitely, inevitably going to get results. Not in a day, not in a week, not in a month, but if I show daily and believe in the concept of delayed gratification, I ultimately am going to achieve my dream body. So the gym became a pillar of my life. I'd base my whole day around the gym. It got to a stage where it honestly became an obsession. And I personally have a very obsessive personality. So when I like something and I truly like and enjoy something, I obsess over it. I would read every article of bodybuilding. I would listen to as many podcasts and as many read as many articles as possible on that topic. And if you think about it now, I just wanted to regain that control of my life again. I wanted to be back on the driver's seat, steering the wheel of my life. I now had a vision of how I want my life to pan out in the years to come. And through the gym and through training and through hard work and honestly through pain, I managed and I learned how to regain control of that. And training got to a stage where it was just very therapeutic. I honestly, other people choose different forms of therapy. Some people choose talking to people. That wasn't for me. Some people choose drugs. Some people choose alcohol. Some people choose self-destructive habits. But for me personally, it was the gym and training and just pushing iron in general. I found so much peace in that process that I managed to cope with the grief that I was experiencing, which now I am forever in debt to the gym and for how it has helped me cope with grief. Losing my brother honestly broke me to pieces, but it also helped me become a better man. It woke me up from this mentality and this idea I had of life, and it made me realize how short life is and how it should be appreciated more, and how time and effort with your loved ones and the things that you love doing should be your obligation and should be your priority in life. The pain gave me clarity. It gave me a path, a way out, and it gave me discipline. And from that moment on, I became obsessed with growth, with progress, with doing the hard things daily that are gonna yield rewards in the months and years to come. That is the story of how a tragedy led to something much greater than oneself. How a tragedy made me personally a better human, a better father, a better husband, a better son, a better brother. It taught me life lessons that I'll forever be in debt to, and that will forever be embedded into me and my mentality moving forward in life. It showed me what's important and what's not in life, because my priorities back then were all over the place. It also taught me the importance of doing something and not dying wandering. That is a story of how I lost my brother and how that situation forged and sparked something in me to want more from life. Stay tuned for the next video. I'm going to be explaining to you how COVID panned the rest of my life out for me till this day. Like, subscribe, share. Any support is appreciated. Hit the like button. I'll see you on the next one.